Take a nice deep breath in. Inhale through the nose, bring it up to the crown chakra, and exhale. Now inhale, bring it to the crown, and then all the way down to the Muladhara heart chakra, the base of the spine. Exhale, bring it back up. Inhale. It might be easier for you to do it from the center between the eyebrows. Inhale, bring the breath down through the tube in the center of your body. As you inhale, as you exhale, feel it coming back up. Inhale. Tap. Exhale, come back up and come through the nose. Inhale through the nose, bring it all the way down. And exhale, come back up. So imagine you're filling now another breath, which is very beautiful for inhale, and imagine you are filling a tube in the center of your body. And exhale. And we're going to do that with the chanting of Om. When you chant Om, I want you to feel that you are filling a tube in the center of your body. Like, you know, the test tubes that are skinny and long? Imagine the sound of Om is filling that tube. Om. Now the top of the tube, M, right at the Anya chakra. So you start at the base of the spine to fill it up. And when you come to the M, you're up here and it's putting a little head on it. Oh. Good. So we talked about the Sushumna Nadi, Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna. Sushumna is in your etheric body. So is Ida and Pingala. And it is the center where your spinal cord is. So when you're chanting this,
you're filling that, you're bringing up the energy slowly. I believe in a very gentle raising of the Kundalini. If you raise it tough and through asanas and hitting your khanda, etc., there is where people have problems. Okay. Now let's talk about the sacral chakra, the second chakra from the bottom. The second one right here. Okay. It is located in the spine just behind the genital organs. So when we see a petal coming out, we see it, with a stem right there and then the petal coming out forward. And the petals come out, either you see it as a petal or you see it as a circle. It depends what they're seeing. They can see it as a 6-petal or they can see it as a circle. There is, and if it is the circle that they see, it has like a tire has wheels, spokes. So they have 6 spokes. Now, this is our astral counterpart. And we all have an astral counterpart, all right? And that's where all of this is happening. As a matter of fact, that is almost more important to you than your physical body because it directs the physical body. Now, it represents sexuality and creativity. Okay? And that's what this chakra represents. And the name is called Swadhisthan. Swa meaning self, Adhistan meaning to be established within yourself. It's a very important chakra. But when I teach, I generally don't teach this chakra because there is also an intensity that can lead into the wrong direction. We have to be particularly careful awakening this because the sacral lotus is the initial stages. It can be harmful because it will fan your desire for sex. It will fan it. And it will make it to the point when it is awakened that you almost have no control. Okay? You will find any reason, if you are not a controlled individual, to express that. And that can be done in a wrong direction if you don't have control. So to awaken this chakra, we have to be very careful and know that the minute it comes in there and awakens, because it is also creativity. And what do we do in sex? We create a new child. I mean, it is creativity. It is everything is new. But once awakened, we should immediately bring it up to the heart center, that energy. Don't allow it to descend because it will be almost uncontrollable. Okay? So this is very important to understand. All right? So but if you awaken, once the Kundalini rises, it should be all in stages, and it rises in stages of intensity. All of us always have some of this energy available. And especially if you are in that act, which they sometimes call Kama Yoga, you can raise your Kundalini in the sexual activity, and they have practiced it. It has been misused, but the real practice of that is to raise the Kundalini and not to allow an orgasm, but to bring it up higher. To bring the energy, the sexual energy raises the Kundalini automatically, and it usually just to the second chakra and then descends. And that gives you that orgasmic experience. But there is a technique in yoga, and it's very rarely can be done by people have to be very self-controlled. and it's suggested that you're married to do this. It's to raise that Kundalini energy and not to allow it to descend into an orgasm, but to bring it up into a higher chakra. Okay. So this is what they usually refer to as Tantra yoga, but Tantra yoga is not only that, but they associate that with Tantra yoga. It's been misused, something awful, because very few have that kind of control over that sexual energy, because it does want to descend, because we are humans. We are meant to descend with that. We are meant to have that activity. And so it's actually against what the body wants to do. The mind has to be forcing it. But Tantra yoga just means Kundalini yoga and awakening the chakras. Does not mean sexual energy. But this is what they usually refer to as Tantra yoga. I only met one man who can do this, and he's a very, very disciplined individual all the way around. Okay. I mean, he told me he could do it. And I don't know. Maybe he's right, maybe he's not. Okay. It is an extremely difficult thing to do.
So those students that they follow the Kundalini yoga, that's what they do, right?
You see, the beauty about the teaching of the Kundalini asanas and Kundalini yoga, they do a lot of chanting along. They do a lot of the bhakti yoga. They're always trying to bring the energy back into the heart. They might awaken it through yoga postures, but because of all the chanting that they do and all of that, they try to bring it into the heart. The minute you have that energy rising, if you don't leave it at the lower two chakras and bring it to the heart, you will have no negative effect. You will have a purification effect. Okay? The most important part is when you bring it to the sacral chakra, not to allow it to descend. But in power yoga, that's why people love power yoga. It brings it up and it comes down, and they feel so good. And they'll go to yoga class twice a week, a day. Okay? This is another way of getting people to come to your yoga. It's also done a great deal. That is done because I have met them. There are spiritual teachers that have the psychic power of raising your Kundalini and letting it descend. And then everybody is so happy, feeling so happy. They're swaying like this. It's descending down. They feel so happy. It has an orgasmic type of experience. They feel happy. And this is how you get a nice congregation together. Well, I don't do it, so I just have a few of you. Thank God. Okay, these are all tricks that people do. Okay, they raise the Kundalini and then it descends nicely. You don't even realize it's almost orgasmic. Yeah, but it makes you feel good. It's a little different than when you have sex, but it's orgasmic. Okay, so the flow of this energy is always there. In children, Kundalini jumps up and down. That's why they have to be active and all over the place. And I'm really annoyed at the fact that the kids have to sit still all day. They need to be active. They need to run around. They need to be loud. They need to be noisy. They need to be full of activity. You put them together, you have a frustrated, it's like a volcano, and then you drug them to sit still. What kind of nonsense is that? Children have to be active. Children have to be, and we shouldn't be putting them in school so early. At 3 years old, we put them into school. They're supposed to be playing. They're supposed to be, look at all the animals. What do the kids do? The kittens. They play with one another. That's how they learn about life.
And the teachers have noticed are active, they
put them.
they put them into medicine.
That's what I've just said. They give them medicine because the kids are active. And they label them as God knows what. Hyperactive. Children are supposed to be messy and active. This is how you learn. And that's because the Kundalini is going. Okay? Yeah. And if you keep it confined, it's destructive. It's destructive to the children. Okay? Remember the olden days. We were thrown out. Come back when the street lights come on. We got onto the bicycles. We met our friends. We played. We didn't have toys. We made toys. And we had, where was your kid? When you saw the bicycle over there, you knew the kid was over there. Yeah. They're supposed to be outside. They're supposed to be active. We're overprotective. We're all of this is nonsense. Okay? Now, this center can be awakened through physical means by contracting and relaxing the perineum at a regular interval. Okay? Some people go into lotus pose and then bounce the perineum like that. It can be awakened. A lot of the meditation poses has your heel inside the perineum in order to put slight pressure on the base of the spine, which is fine. It's not a pouncing. It's a slight pressure to activate the Kundalini during meditation. That's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually very good. These seated postures are meant for meditation, where the heel is right underneath the perineum, one of your heels only, which is fine, and the other one is on top of your pubis bone if you have that ability. And that kind of compresses that lower chakra in order to activate the Kundalini, all right? Which is fine, as long as we're not tapping it on an interval. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. And remember, once the Kundalini rises, you want to bring it through the chakra we want to pierce the chakras and bring it into the heart. And when you do that, you will have the rising of Kundalini very gentle. You might feel the heat in the body, but you won't have and you might even start doing bandhas with your stomach. You might be swaying. That's okay. But it won't be very vigorous. Some people have Kundalini rising and that's when they say, be careful, and that they go crazy and all of that. Not if you do it correctly. That's if you do it forcefully. And I don't believe in forcefully. Remember, Kundalini rises in everyone once the purification of the mind, the purification of the subtle body, the purification of the mental body, all of the Kundalini will rise automatically. So it's not just raising the Kundalini physically. There has to be an emotional, mental work that needs to be done in order to raise the Kundalini. Now, this particular one is the center of your ego. This is the center of your ego body. This is why this one is very important. All right? It's the seat of the physical ego desire body. It's the seat of the physical ego desire body. Now, this is why it is such an important chakra. Okay? What I would like you to do is to just pierce it through to the heart, just for the purification. The minute you pierce energy through it, it begins to purify. But each chakra has physical and mental and emotional components, and those have to be worked on. Just to do it physically is no good. And once you bring it to the heart, then you will be asking to do it, to work on the physical and mental and emotional body. This is the difference. And you notice that if you have done yoga for a long time, and if you took the teacher's training and all of that, you began to change. You began to change when you did all that yoga and the study of the mind, and you did yoga every weekend for hours and hours during that time. Your whole life changed, your whole mind changed, everything changed. Why? Because you pierce the chakras, which prompt you to change the physical, mental, and emotional body. And that's how the chakras need to be worked. And if you're working on the physical, mental, and emotional body, and you're not a yogi, the chakras will open up also. It's a natural thing. You don't have to be a yogi for it to happen. You don't have to do yoga. We just like to speed up the process, because we're going to have to do it sooner or later, because in order to reach your final goal, you want to have this one open. And when you look at saints and sages, what do they have? They have a whole halo around their head, because that's wide open. Okay? And people who can see them see the energy around the head. See that wonderful golden energy around the head, because the chakra is open. And that's what you want. That's what you're going for. And the reason we have so much discord in this country is because you can also energetically activate the lower chakras in people, which then puts them into base positions of hatred, prejudice, etc. And that is a technique that is being used and was used for all dictators. They activate the two lower chakras. Okay? And how do they do that? By approving hate and prejudice and so forth, so that they can feel important and they can feel that energy. They feel, whoa, that energy of hatred, because it never came to the heart. That energy of hatred activates the lower two chakras and makes them feel powerful. And that's a technique that's being used by dictators. Yeah. This chakra is very, very powerful. This is why I didn't teach it that day. I wasn't feeling well enough to give you the truth. I have to give you the truth on this. This is a very potent chakra. And for you yogis that are my students, just pierce it, let it clean out, and bring it here. Yeah. Okay? Because that chakra can lead into all of those things: hatred, animosity, and the prejudice. And the prejudice is saying you are superior to someone else, so you get the power. You feel inferior, but then and they make you feel inferior to begin with, but then give you a prejudice to make you feel superior to another group of individuals. And in Hitler's time, it was the Jews. Now it's the South Americans. These are techniques that are used. Don't be fooled by it. And these techniques, those people who are using them know exactly what they're doing. Okay? They might not understand it in the chakra system, but they understand it in the energy field. Okay? Yeah. Okay? So this chakra, which is the seat of your physical ego desire body, and it can be activated. Okay? So the technique to get a whole group of people together to hate another individual You first put them down, that they're no good, and then you raise them up by hating another group. And it can be done, and that it can be done, and it only takes 10 years for an entire society to be trained that way. Somebody did the research. A young man did the research. His father was an Auschwitz survivor, and he wanted to know how this happened, because we have mass extermination all over the world. It wasn't just Hitler. And he studied and studied, and it takes only 10 years. So when I heard that we might have the same thing happening again, the second 4 years, I got worried, because it only takes 10 years for a whole nation to be turned around. Okay? Be aware. And it's not the people that are doing it, it's the people that are sitting besides and just watching it happen and not being against it and fighting against it. That is what's the worst part. People just letting it happen. They don't believe in it, they don't want it, but they don't push against it. Yeah. So as a chakra becomes alive, it has positive qualities and it has negative qualities you're destroying. And the increase in positive qualities. And those are in your physical, in your mental, and emotional life. So what are the positive qualities? Well, let's talk about the negative qualities you have you want to get rid of. I'm sure you do. And that's what you will get rid of if you start raising this and piercing this chakra. Self-doubt. Oh gosh. Envy. Addictions. Not everybody has all those. Ego. Sexual issues. Shouldn't have any of those. It's natural. Guilt. Judgment. Oh. Judgment of yourself includes that. Oh, I don't judge other people. No. What about yourself? Do you judge yourself? Of course you do. Who judges you more? You yourself. Okay. Sense of superiority or inferiority. When you have a sense of inferiority, you express it as superior. Isn't that interesting? If you don't feel good about yourself, you express it as if you are powerful, as the opposite. Now, what positive qualities would you like? Pierce that darn thing and get these qualities. Okay? Self-confidence. Okay. Concentration. Isn't that interesting? Aligning ego with the soul's mission. How nice would that be? Aligning our ego with our soul's mission. Once you do that, you don't have much choice about your life. You get the nudgings. Go this way. Go that way. Increase of a giving nature. In other words, sharing your life. Sharing your life. Which means that the relationships that you are with are more giving in nature and receiving. Giving and receiving. With giving, you have to also have the receiving. So all relationships become more pleasant. And we are supposed to have relationships with one another. But you will find that people get married and they have nothing but quarrels. But quarrels are also good if you can work them out, because you have to let go of what bothers you and you have to go. It's nicer if you can talk it out, but sometimes having fights is okay too, as long as they don't get too bad. Okay. Ego is a very important part of our life. Ego is most important. We wouldn't be able to do anything if we didn't have the ego. But it's not supposed to control you. You're supposed to, this is your chariot. Ego is your chariot. And it's supposed to guide you where you want to go in life. But you sit in a car and you let that ego go wherever it wants to go. You have no control of the steering wheel or the gas pedal or the brakes. And so it's driving you according to your subconscious, unconscious, messy mind, rather than your conscious desire body. Okay. So don't poo-poo the ego, try to control it. Okay. See where is it taking you in the right direction? If not, you have to be strong and hold it back. To control the ego is the most difficult process you will do into your entire life. It's the most difficult thing. You can climb Mount Everest as a piece of cake, but you can't control that ego and the mind. Ego and mind are together. Ego and mind go together. When controlling the mind, you're controlling the ego. Okay? That is more difficult, 1,000 times more difficult than climbing up Mount Everest. So if you can just get a tiny control over that, you're doing great. Give yourself points, because the more you give yourself points, the more you're able to do. Remember what you do. You have to be proud of yourself for not giving in. And this is why people start fasting 1 day a week. That's to control the ego. Or being quiet for 1 day, not talking, not looking at the phone or whatever. These practices are all to control the ego. Or getting up every morning and doing arti at a certain time. All of these practices are to control the ego, to control discipline. Discipline means control. Discipline. And discipline in the beginning seems like a negative thing, but in the long run, it becomes a positive aspect of our life. But in the beginning, it's sour, but at the end, it's sweet. And undisciplined is sweet in the beginning and sour at the end. Okay. So that's very important to others understand. Now, here's one of the ways to understand if you have control over the ego. When the ego is not under control, we're always looking for someone or something to give us self-worth. Isn't that interesting? The ego is never satisfied. So we are always judging ourselves. If you want to know if you have your ego running or not, these are the things to look at. Very important to understand. Are we looking for external validation? No. Know this. Many of our discordant energies that we would like to get rid of or overcome, we do not do so because we don't believe that we have the power or ability to do so. My main work with all of you and everyone I meet is to build up your good self-esteem. Now you understand why. Because that's the only way you're going to get rid of your darn ego taking over your whole life. Remember, ego you need, but move it in the direction that you want. Okay? A good, healthy self-esteem is very important. It's the most important thing that you need to develop. Healthy. Not the unhealthy self-esteem that people develop, that's an ego esteem. No, healthy. When we tend to give our energies away, to someone else to help, when it's really your own work. And you will find a lot of the spiritual gurus and so forth or the religious teachers, they like to take like to give the energy to them to do the work for you. It doesn't work that way. But that's how you get a nice big congregation. So forget that. I have just a few. You get hit over the head. Get back to doing your work. Huh?
But it's more intensive that way. It's more concentrated.
Yeah. Oh, there's so many ways you can have a congregation. Oh, piece of cake. Anyway. Now, if you want to work on this chakra, it's orange in color. So you wear something orange to think about it. Okay? I'm always in orange. Yeah. But when you develop, when this chakra is opened a little bit more, it gets a little pink on the edges. Chakras change in color as we develop. I had such an argument with people. No, it's this color, it's that color. No, it's not that color. When you develop to a certain degree, they're not the same colors that people tell you. Okay? So if you're seeing different colors, it's okay. You want to examine some of our emotional responses to life in order to bring it back to balance and turn us to a healthy self-esteem. For example, what do you feel guilty about? You want to take a look at these things. What do you feel guilty about regarding past actions? Guilty about responsibilities, guilt of not being perfect, and so on. Guilt steals your energy. It just sucks the energy right out of you. Whoop. Think of it as like a vacuum cleaner of energy. Beep. Yeah, if I say those things, you get the idea more. Okay. Guilt of not being perfect. How many people, I'm not living up to my father's expectation. And it's destroying the body. Guilt destroys not only your mental body, it destroys your physical body. Okay. Are you Another aspect of you is to criticism and judgment. Are we accepting ourselves at this moment? Remember this. You might feel loving and compassionate at a moment, but you're not the same moment tomorrow. Don't judge yourself. Every day is a different day. Try to do the best every day, but if it doesn't happen, stop pounding your head down back into the nonsense. Okay? Don't feel guilty. What about criticism of yourself? Criticism of your performance. That doesn't mean you can't look at your performance, but criticizing it means you don't give it an option of change. When you criticize something, you don't give it an option of changing. You want the kind of criticism, you want to take a look at things and say, this is not right. It's a difference than criticizing it. It gives you an option to make a change or see the two sides. Okay. We're always going to look at things right or wrong, what you call criticism, but now you know what I'm talking about. Okay? We call the other one criticism too. Okay. What about criticizing those people who think differently like us? That's why I couldn't become a Christian. They all had to think according to Christianity. Of course, what they call Christianity now, what they're teaching is not Christianity, not according to what I read in the Bible. So what I read in the Bible, I could teach easily. What is being taught, and well, of course, I wanted to join a church because this is what my mission is. I couldn't join any church because of that. But do I love Christ? Absolutely. Is the Bible beautiful? Absolutely. Is his teachings beautiful? Absolutely. Is the church beautiful? It has its good points. It has its bad points. It serves some people. It doesn't. Huh?
Buildings are beautiful.
They are very beautiful.
I love when I went, I was being taught by a Jesuit priest. I was thinking of joining the Teresians, which is a lay monastic order. And beautiful people. And I was being taught by the Jesuit priest for that. And I told him of all the things that I couldn't stand about the Catholic Church. And he said to me, when you go to a buffet, you only take what you like. And you don't poo-poo or spit on the things you don't like. You leave it for other people. And he says, look at the church the same way. Take what you like. And that was an eye-opener. And then he goes at another session. We don't even know. Remember, Jesuits are heavy into meditation. So once you meditate, you get to know the truth. He says, we don't even know if Christ was really alive. But he was, that I know. But the stories behind it, because they're all the same as the Old Testament. Okay? But Joshua was alive, and he was here to teach love. And in the name of that love, we have killed thousands. But that was his mission, to teach love, and he was alive. But anyway, what makes us ashamed and defensive? Another aspect to look at. Do we have a compulsive behavior? So all the second chakra. Do we have sexual issues? Okay. So Mataji put this book together, and you can meditate on each part of the chakra. All right. 6 petals. It's orange. The Bij mantra is Vam, V-A-M, Vam, Vam. Bij means seed. It has a certain, when you use Bij mantras, they have a certain vibration in the brain that brings out something in the brain that needs to be brought out. Okay? And they're very, very powerful. So Vam, 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 Vam. Om is also a Bij mantra. And that Om, your vagus nerve is completely affected by Om. And the vagus nerve runs into your whole body. So Om is very powerful. Bij mantras are extremely powerful. Okay. Vam. Brahma is the deity. And Shakti is the goddess. And the riding animal is a crocodile. Okay? And you can meditate on any one of these qualities or study the picture. One begins to activate the lotus. When you meditate on these, it automatically activates. Okay? The idea for you to activate it is to bring the energy from the base all the way to the crown. That's what you want to do. All right? And that is when your individual soul merges with the Supreme Soul. When you bring that energy, it merges. But we all have some of that energy. Remember, I said everybody has the Shakti running around, and it's dormant in the base of your spine. So we have divine energy within us. And all of this is divine energy. And if we activate it, we become one with the divine. So when we activate it, it opens up the 6 petals. Some see it like a horn of plenty. It opens it up, and then you want to bring it up to the hearts. That's how you want to do it. You want to bring them up, and they'll shut again, but you want to bring it up and open up the 6 petals and bring it to the heart center. Okay? And when you wear something orange, which you are wearing already, just look at that and say, I want to conquer our ego desire body. You just say that in your mind. I want to conquer my ego desire body. What your mind puts forth, it has energy to make it happen. Okay? And it also, once you open that chakra a little bit, some of these imbalances caused lower back pain. We have an epidemic of lower back pain, kidney problems, kidney failures. This is also a lack of opening that sacral chakra properly. Adrenal glands, bladder. Okay? And when you work with these chakras, you also, at the same time, because you're working with the emotional and mental body, you are then also changing your subconscious mind and unconscious mind if you are working correctly with these chakras, so that you can speed up this karma. And we are blessed nowadays to be able to speed up our work with our karma. We don't have to play it out anymore 100%. See, that was the idea when Christ came. By love and by bringing the energy into a love center. You say Christ came here to destroy your sins, right? To forgive your sins. Well, when you really start thinking about it, Christ came here to bring the energy to the heart center. And when the energy comes to the heart center, you automatically begin to release the subconscious and the negative karmas in your physical body and in your mental body and in the emotional body. No one person, you have to do the work. But it has, and that's what he came here for. He came to open people's hearts. Well, the energy has to flow through these chakras to open the heart. And that will happen automatically. But that's not what they're teaching. They're teaching the lower 2 chakras. Not good. One of the Christian preachers the other day, on the pulpit, we should destroy all the gay people. I think the first commandment, thou shalt not kill, right? On the pulpit. What is the matter here? Second chakra. Get it working. Yeah. Without the heart. Shut the heart down. Don't allow the energy to go to the heart. Have nice control over people. Okay. Beware. But I'm giving a long lecture on this chakra because it is so important. Okay. So, with that, can I close? Oh. Oh.